The punishment has done little to comfort the families he devastated.
Number 10. Assassination of Abraham Lincoln. On April 14, 1865, President Lincoln was attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C.
It had been in the newspaper that morning that he would be at the theater that night, and now he had to keep his word to the people.
3 days later, Lincoln had had a dream that an assassin had murdered the president, but assumed it must be some other fellow. During the play, actor John Wilkes Booth shot President Lincoln in the back of the head. Booth was motivated by Confederate sympathies and support for slavery. He had been particularly furious over Lincoln's speech promising to grant former slaves the right to vote. Booth's crime sent the country into shock and brought about a national state of mourning.
It just unleashed a tremendous outpouring of grief.
Number 9. Lindbergh kidnapping. Little Charles Lindbergh Jr. was lying peacefully in his crib on March 1, 1932, when an intruder broke into the Lindbergh home in East Amwell, New Jersey, and kidnapped him.
The press was quick to dub it the crime of the century.
As the 20-month-old son of famous aviators, Charles Lindbergh and Anne Morrow Lindbergh, the crime became front-page news. A ransom note on the windowsill demanded $50,000.
He leaves behind only traces of mud, a broken ladder, and a handwritten ransom note demanding $50,000.
The police launched a full-scale investigation, but were unable to find usable evidence. 2 months later, Lindbergh Jr.'s body was found by a truck driver. It wasn't until 1934 that a German carpenter, Bruno Richard Hauptmann, was arrested for the crime. He professed his innocence all the way until his execution by the electric chair in 1936.
Hauptmann is found guilty and sentenced to death.
Number 8. Harvey Weinstein. For 3 decades, it remained an open secret in Hollywood. Then, in October 2017, the New York Times and the New Yorker reported that dozens of women had accused film producer Harvey Weinstein of sexual assault and abuse.
In October 2017, Harvey Weinstein finally lost control of the story.
More and more women felt empowered to come forward. In total, over 80 women accused Weinstein of predatory acts. Weinstein was dismissed from his own company, and multiple criminal investigations ensued.
Soon after the news broke, Weinstein was fired from his company and went into therapy.
In May 2018, he was arrested, and in March 2020, sentenced to 23 years in prison. The scandal helped spark the #MeToo movement, with many women coming forward with similar accusations against various men in powerful positions.
"Please don't sentence me to life in prison," he told the court. "I don't deserve it."
Number 7. The Bundy Murders. In the mid-1970s, serial killer Ted Bundy abducted, sexually assaulted, and murdered dozens of women.
While authorities don't know when Bundy first started to kill, the earliest crimes they were able to link to him were in Washington state in 1974.
A sociopath, Bundy was very charismatic and often approached his targets in public places, pretending to need help or impersonating a police officer. Once he had led his victims away, he would knock them out and bring them to another location. He was arrested but escaped twice in 1977, committing more murders before being caught again.
He escaped once again in 1977 and made his way to Florida, where investigators say he claimed 6 more lives.
He was sentenced to death and executed in 1989. In prison, he confessed to 30 murders, but may have committed even more,
taking his secrets with him about the full and true extent of his reign of terror.
Number 6. The Manson Family Murders.
Charles Manson. The name itself is synonymous with evil.
In 1967, the Summer of Love brought hippies together in San Francisco, converging around music, anti-war sentiment, and free love. But Charles Manson walked into their midst, preying on mostly young women to build a doomsday cult that was based on white supremacist ideals, couched in hippie lingo. By the summer of 1969, he had dozens of loyal devotees and a base at Spawn Ranch in LA. In July and August, members of the Manson family committed 9 murders, including a well-known actress, Sharon Tate.
Manson ordered his longtime lieutenant, Tex Watson, and 2 of his lovers, Susan Atkins and Patricia Krenwinkel, to break into the Tate Polanski home and kill whoever they found.
In 1971, Manson and his accomplices faced justice, sentenced to death, and later to life in prison.
Charles Manson applied for parole time and time again, but he died a prisoner.
Number 5. The Murder of George Floyd. On May 25, 2020, 4 policemen arrested George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after a store clerk suspected he had used a counterfeit $20 bill. Police pulled Floyd from a car and handcuffed him. Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on the back of Floyd's neck for over 9 minutes, ignoring his pleas that he couldn't breathe, until he was dead. Floyd's murder ignited nationwide protests against police brutality, especially against the black community. Chauvin was convicted of murder and sentenced to 22.5 years in prison. In June 2023, a Justice Department probe released a report exposing systematic abuses and discrimination by police in Minneapolis.
Chauvin showed no emotion as the judge told him his fate.
Number 4. Assassination of Martin Luther King.
Good evening. Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
A prominent leader of the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King Jr. preached nonviolence and civil disobedience, calling for desegregation and an end to Jim Crow laws and other forms of discrimination. In doing so, he made many enemies, including the FBI. On April 4th, 1968, he was shot and killed at a motel in Memphis, Tennessee.
The shot apparently came from an apartment building directly across the street.
James Earl Ray was arrested a few months later and sentenced to 99 years in prison. However, the King family believed that the assassination was part of a conspiracy orchestrated by the U.S. government. The true designs behind the crime were never fully determined.
The government was very involved.
Number 3. Watergate. On the night of June 17, 1972, 5 burglars broke into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office building in Washington, D.C.
It was a break-in at the Democratic National Committee's headquarters in the Watergate office complex. This was the start of what would be the political crime of the century.
It was actually the second such burglary. The first had been to wiretap phones the month before. Behind it all, President Richard Nixon's committee for re-election.
And they discovered that McCord was a security chief for the committee to re-elect the president.
The burglars were caught, and the investigation revealed that Nixon subsequently tried to cover up his administration's involvements. With impeachment looming over his head, Nixon resigned from office in August 1974. His vice president Gerald Ford became president and pardoned him. The term Watergate remains synonymous with political scandal today.
And so we leave with high hopes, in good spirit.
Number 2. The Zodiac Killings. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in American history, and he was never caught. In the late 1960s, 5 victims in the San Francisco Bay Area were linked to the Zodiac.
A hooded figure demanded their car keys and their money.
But the Zodiac claimed to have murdered 37 in total. He taunted local newspapers with letters and ciphers, 2 of which remain unsolved to this day. The killer claimed that he was taking lives to serve him as slaves in the afterlife.
He claims to be collecting slaves for his afterlife. It suggests a dark insight into the killer's mind.
For over 6 years, the Zodiac killer terrified the country with his murders. Then in 1974, he disappeared. There still remains an open case file on the Zodiac killings to this day.
The FBI released a statement saying the Zodiac killer case remains an ongoing investigation for the FBI San Francisco division.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. The murder of JonBenet Ramsey. This child beauty queen's murder in 1996 was never solved.
Ransom note says, I have your child, I want $1 million, I'll call you later.
The Black Dahlia murder. The horrific murder of aspiring actress Elizabeth Short in 1947 shocked the nation.
This ends up being kind of a film noir drama that plays out on the front pages of the newspapers.
D.B. Cooper hijacking. In 1971, an unidentified man hijacked a plane, parachuting away with $200,000.
Somewhere over the forests of southern Washington state, Cooper jumped. He has never been seen since.
The murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. O.J. Simpson's highly publicized trial was made even more infamous by a 45-minute car chase.
Please surrender immediately.
A lot of people didn't want to believe it.
Number 1. Assassination of John F. Kennedy. JFK was one of the most popular presidents in American history, but on November 22, 1963, his first term was cut short. While riding in a presidential motorcade in Dallas, Texas, he was shot and killed.
President Kennedy and Governor John Connally have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas.
Former U.S. Marine Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the crime, but he too was murdered by a man named Jack Ruby, sparking many theories about a larger conspiracy.
Slumped to the floor. He was sped to the same hospital where President Kennedy died.
After a long investigation, it was determined that the two men operated independently, but controversy continues to swirl around the case. Kennedy's death shocked and outraged the nation, and the motive and even the identity of the killer continues to be a topic of debate.
There are lots of theories. It was Castro, the Mafia, the Soviets, the CIA, you name it.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.